The Galactic Council chamber hummed with the collective anxiety of 1,000 species. Representatives from every corner of known space had gathered on the neutral station of Axiom Prime, their attention fixed on the ancient artifact that floated in the center of the room, a crystalline sphere that pulsed with an otherworldly blue light. Commander Ferret stood among the crowd, his weathered hands clasped behind his back as he observed the proceedings. As humanity's chief diplomatic officer, he had seen many strange things in his 30 years of service, but nothing quite like this. The artifact, discovered in the ruins of the precursor civilization, held the key to unlimited energy, or so the xenoarchaeologists claimed. The only problem was the riddle that protected it. For 6 months, the greatest minds in the galaxy had attempted to solve it. Mathematical geniuses from the Quaternic Collective had applied algorithms that could calculate the trajectory of colliding galaxies. The hive minds of Kepler-9 had dedicated millions of processing nodes to the problem. Even the enigmatic seers of Vorthon, beings who existed partially outside normal spacetime, had emerged from their meditation with nothing but frustrated silence. The riddle itself seemed simple, almost mocking in its brevity. I stand before the barrier, seeking passage within. I announce my presence. Yet, I am not myself. What am I? Another failure, muttered Ambassador Zixthara, her crystalline form refracting the chamber's light into rainbow patterns. Perhaps the precursors intended this as a cruel joke. A puzzle, with no solution. Ferret was about to respond when he heard a familiar voice behind him. Papa! He turned to see his daughter Maya rushing toward him, her ponytail bouncing as she wove between the towering alien delegates. At 8 years old, she was supposed to be in the Human Quarters Educational Center, not in the most important diplomatic gathering of the century. Maya, what are you doing here? Ferret crouched down, concern and embarrassment warring on his face. This is not a place for children. But Mrs. Chen said we could watch the proceedings on the view screen, and I got bored, and I wanted to see the pretty sphere myself. And she paused, her dark eyes widening as she caught sight of the artifact. Wow, it's so beautiful. Several delegates turned to observe the interruption, with expressions ranging from curiosity to barely concealed annoyance. The Exelonite observer, a being resembling a floating collection of geometric shapes, emitted a low frequency that translated as, "The human brings offspring to matters of galactic importance?" "My apologies," Ferret said quickly, taking Maya's hand. "I'll escort her out immediately." But Maya had already pulled free and walked closer to the artifact, tilting her head as she studied the floating text of the riddle projected beside it. Her lips moved silently as she read the words, "Maya, come back." "Oh!" she exclaimed suddenly, a bright smile spreading across her face. "It's just a knock-knock joke." The chamber fell silent. 1,000 alien eyes, sensors, and perception organs focused on the small human child. High Chancellor Vrex, a towering being from the warrior planet of Kroth, leaned forward on his throne. "Explain yourself, small human." Maya looked around nervously, suddenly aware of all the attention. She grabbed her father's hand for courage. "Well, it's like the knock-knock jokes we tell at school. You know, knock-knock, who's there? And then you say a name, and then they say the name and who. And then you make a funny punchline." Ferret felt the blood drain from his face. His daughter had just compared an ancient alien riddle to a children's joke in front of the entire Galactic Council. His career was over. But Ambassador Zixthara moved closer, her form pulsing with what might have been excitement. "Continue. Child, how does this knock-knock joke relate to the riddle?" "See?" Maya pointed at the text. "I stand before the barrier that's like standing at a door. I announce my presence that's knocking, yet I am not myself. That's because, in the joke, you pretend to be someone else. The answer isn't what you are, it's what you say." The chamber erupted in confused murmurs and rapid translations. The Quaternic representatives began frantically recalculating based on this new linguistic framework. Ferret stared at his daughter, then at the riddle. Could it really be that simple? After 6 months of complex mathematical theories and philosophical debates, could a human child's joke truly hold the answer? The answer, Maya declared with the confidence only a child could possess, is knock. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the crystalline sphere began to spin, faster and faster, its blue light intensifying until the entire chamber was bathed in azure radiance. The surface of the artifact rippled, and text began to appear in every known language simultaneously. Correct. The simplest communication, the most basic announcement of presence and intent. Not what one is, but what one does to be acknowledged. Congratulations, young one. The galaxy has been waiting for someone who still remembers how to play. The sphere dissolved, and in its place appeared a small, glowing seed, the legendary precursor power core that could sustain an entire solar system. The chamber exploded with sound. Delegates rose to their feet. Appendages, or gravitational fields, expressing amazement in hundreds of different ways. The hive minds of Kepler-9 transmitted their collective embarrassment at being outsmarted by a single human child. The seers of Vorthon reportedly laughed for the first time in recorded history. Ambassador Zixthara approached Ferret and Maya, her crystalline form bowing in a gesture of respect. It appears humans possess something the rest of us have lost in our pursuit of complexity, the ability to see simple truths. The precursors must have known that only a species that still embraced joy and playfulness would solve their riddle. Ferret looked down at his daughter, who was now surrounded by xenoanthropologists, all asking variations of, "What other jokes do humans tell?" He felt a swell of pride, mixed with amusement. "Papa," Maya whispered, tugging on his sleeve. "Did I do something wrong? Everyone's looking at me funny." He knelt down and hugged her tight. "No, sweetheart. You did something incredibly right. You just reminded the entire galaxy that sometimes the best way to solve an impossible problem is to approach it like a child, with wonder, playfulness, and the belief that things can be simple." As they left the chamber together, Ferret could hear the delegates behind them already composing reports for their homeworlds. The humans have done it again. With their peculiar blend of humor and insight, they have unlocked what we could not. Perhaps we have much more to learn from them than we realized. And somewhere in the quantum foam of space-time, the long-dead precursors smiled at their joke finally being understood. Humanity, once again, had proven that sometimes the most advanced solution is the one that makes you laugh. The end.